Getting you set for the Pac-12 opener, the UCLA Bruins in town to take on your Arizona Wildcats. I'm David Kelly, joined as always by Glenn Howell, U of A football class of 1985. And Glenn, after last Saturday night's game up on the Palouse between Washington State and UCLA, I think the eyes opened up a little bit about what this UCLA team is. This was a team that through the first 3 games of the season was not very good at anything, but they showed in that game against Washington State that, 1, that they could take away the football, and 2, that they could make big plays. Let's start with the fact that they had 6 takeaways in that game. That's the type of thing that will keep you in a game like that. Arizona cannot afford to turn the ball over here today.
Well, Dave, if you look at the stats, you look at UCLA, 11th in rush defense, 11th in passing. They kind of showed that on Saturday. But on the offensive side of the ball, they got a lot better. They got more confident. So we have to be really, really careful of what we do as far as playing against UCLA and not anticipating that this team is not ready to play.
This is going to be a critical game, Glenn, I think, for the linebackers from the standpoint that we saw UCLA last week use their running backs out of the backfield as receivers, getting the ball to Demetric Felton, who is an incredible talent in space, getting the ball to a Joshua Kelly in space. You've got to know what that running back is doing off the snap.
Yeah, one of the things that we have to do, Dave, is that we have to make sure that we get them before they get out on the sidelines and be there. Don't wait for them. We got to get there and get that coverage so we can make the tackle at the line of scrimmage if they're doing swing routes. They did a lot of swing routes, and then they did a lot of them coming over the middle, so we have to be ready for it. And the good thing about Arizona is we have linebackers that are very athletic.
Yeah, you've got Anthony Pandy out there that we've seen can move in space, obviously. I want to see a little bit more, I think, from Colin Schooler. I don't think we've seen his best football yet. This is a game where I think he can step up and begin to make some plays. When you look at that down front, though, the 3 front, it's time for J.B. Brown. This was a kid that we talked about in the preseason. They moved him around. They were playing him inside. They were playing him outside. I need to see more plays from J.B. Brown.
Yeah, I think J.B. I've looked at the film. J.B.'s getting close, okay? He's getting a little closer. And I was like, I talked to you before, is that we are getting closer to the line of scrimmage on our coverage. So that means that we're getting closer to the line, to the quarterback. So the closer we get, the more pressure we are. We're a tad late on getting to the quarterback, but as we get closer and get these guys off the line of scrimmage and jam them, we're going to get to the promised land and get to the quarterback.
And we mentioned early on about the fact that they had the big turnover game last week, did the Bruins up against Washington State. And when you talk about Khalil Tate, and we mentioned this in our breakdown after the win over Texas Tech, he had the 2 interceptions. I felt like the first interception, it wasn't a great throw, but I also thought that Tavion Cunningham broke off his route too soon. That caused that. He didn't give himself a chance to go after a 50-50 ball there. But it could have easily have been 4 interceptions if Texas defensive backs could have caught the football, because he threw some other balls up there that were not very good. You can't take those types of chances. They're going to be some deep, because the way that the UCLA plays their defense, they play their safeties close to the line. So there's going to be some opportunities downfield, I think, to make plays, but you can't take chances with this passing game and turn the ball over.
Well, David, one way to solve that problem is to do what we are. Be what we are. We are a running team first. Let's pound the ball, throw when we have to. I think that we can run the ball against these guys. I'm talking about 300 on the ground, 250 plus. I think we should get that on the ground. We need to pound it, and let's not get fancy. Let's not throw this swing, all this stuff. Let's run it and get the linemen lathered up, get them ready, get them confident, and that's what we need to do. And that will eliminate a lot of our turnovers.
Well, that's going to be another big question about this game tonight, the availability of J.J. Taylor, who went down awkwardly in the second quarter of the game against Texas Tech. Kevin Sumlin said earlier this week in his press conference, J.J. did not do much in practice last week. Obviously, we don't know exactly what he did in practice this week, but you've got that stable back there, which is nice to have now. Maybe Gary Brightwell moves up. He's the starter. Then you've got Bam Smith behind him with Nathan Tilford after that. So you've got some guys that you can lean on there. And I'd like to actually continue to see what we were talking about with UCLA. Get the ball. I think we've seen Bam Smith can catch the ball out of the backfield. Get the ball to those guys in space where they can have some opportunity to run down the field.
Well, I'm comfortable with those throws for Khalil.
Yeah.
Get him out in the swing, get him out, spread that offense in, and then gash him up the middle. And that's what we can do. I think we can do that, and I think that's what we should do. Don't get fancy on us. Let's just run the ball. That's all I want to do.
It's the downfield throws where he has a tendency
Yeah.
just to kind of throw it up there for grabs at times.
But those downfield throws, Dave, will get open if we pound him, because then they're going to be in the box, and then we're going to get loose, get behind him. Let's throw to the tight end. Let's get the tight end involved with that. Running some crossing routes, some arrow routes over to the sideline. Just get that safety to understand that he needs to look out for the tight end, not sit in the box and have a box lunch.
You think that's something that they've kind of been holding on to, maybe the tight end passing game through these first 3 games, or has it just not been there?
I hope so, Dave. I hope so, Dave. I really hope so. That's what they're doing. They're holding it in the pocket, and then let's go out and break it out. Because Bryce Walma has earned his due, but his blocking, he's a great blocker. Now let's reward him.
Yeah, Zach Williams, too, is a kid that we've been waiting to kind of see some type of breakout situation. They were using him as a tight end. They've also used him kind of lining him up in the slot as well. I mean, that's a big kid. That's a big target down the field if you can work him into this offense.
That's the hash mark right there. That guy's a hash mark right there. Right up the hash mark. Get the safeties aware. We get them out of the box. Let them be aware that they have to worry about going downfield.
Well, and the other thing I wanted to touch on about Khalil Tate that we didn't after the game against Texas Tech was he was incredible on third down in that game. If you can push the chains on third down the way that they did, the plays that he really made, the plays that I loved in the passing game he made on third down against the Red Raiders.
And I believe so. If we look back at the tape, those third downs were third and short.
Yeah.
So that opened, 36. Those are great things because you know why? We were running the ball. We were pounding the ball on them. So that sets up a lot of things for us. We have to understand that who we are. Get it third and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 4. Those are great situations. Third and long are not good for us. Then we panic a little bit, and then we're erratic with our throws.
And you got it. And this is going to be a very important game for I think the coverage units, just because of what we saw last week with Demetric Felton and the ability of the Bruins to be able to return the football. You can't give up those types of plays in this game.
Larry Smith used to say 3 phases of the game. Special teams, offense, and defense. We have to get better on special teams. We got to be prepared. These guys return kicks. They return punts. We better be ready. And I know Jeremy Springer will be ready for us.
Yeah, Jeremy Springer. Big week for him.
It's a big, huge week, brother. Big
special teams unit. All right, UCLA and Arizona tonight at the stadium. We'll be back to break it down for you on Monday morning.